Sapresh, how are you?
Good afternoon.
How are you, Bachchu?
I'm fine.
Hi, Shivani. Looking pretty.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
What's the temperature there?
Not audible properly.
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I'm asking what's the temperature there?
Here temperature is 20 at present, 21.
Aren't you feeling cold?
No, ma'am. In the afternoons, it's not cold.
Okay, so I'm sure that you are enjoying the weather. You ever
Yes,
been in
ma'am.
Delhi? You've ever been in Delhi?
Yes, ma'am. I visited twice.
So how is it? Did you like it there?
Yes, ma'am. Pollution is a bit high. I got cold after I came back from Delhi, but otherwise it was pleasant. And one time I visited in summer, and it was very very hot in Delhi.
So like someone lives here, your relative or something. Okay. And what about you, Saptarishi? You've never been to Delhi, I think. I asked you this question. Right, Saptarishi? Gone? Might be facing the issue again. Okay, so in the last class, we have done the topic, we have finished it. And today we'll be starting the new topic. Right? So humanism is done, right? So
Yes,
multiculturalism. Right? That's what we were doing?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So minority rights were done. We were supposed to do diversity today, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you will tell me what diversity is. How will you define diversity? Forget about political relation with it and what we basically which subject it is coming. Tell me what diversity is. How will you define the general definition of it? Yes.
Saptarshi, you have muted yourself.
Saptarishi, you are muted, bache.
Yes, ma'am. So basically, diversity basically means like the difference between the thought process, culture, and all that. When everything coexists with each other, that is the diversity.
Okay. Trinity.
Ma'am, I think diversity means there are differences between people, maybe their language, their culture, their norms, anything. Some differences are there
I
between
just
people.
said forget its definition with political. Tell me the general meaning of it. What diversity is. The general meaning of diversity.
Difference. Difference.
Yes, ma'am. This
Okay.
difference exists. That is called diversity.
Okay. Now tell me the relation with it, with the politics.
So
As we have
basically,
seen before,
diversity.
as we have seen before in multiculturalism, because people having same cultural identity or ethnic identity, some similarities there. These people who are feeling similar, they can become a group easily. They feel they are very similar and they can bond together easily. And once they have formed groups, groups, there is strength and there is unity, so they can achieve their purposes easily than individually, because they are collective and united, so there is more power to their voice.
Okay. Does multiculturalism supports diversity?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now let's understand what this is and what's the relation with politics and what's the relation of diversity with multiculturalism. Okay. Now multiculturalist believes that cultural diversity is compatible with political cohesion. People have multiple identities and therefore loyalties. So what this line is telling to us, that diversity is basically different cultures are there, religions are there, language is there, right? And basically different customs are there, right? And that's what we call diversity, right? And multiculturalism basically diversity, supports and promote diversity, right? So diversity does not break a country, right? What it says, that political cohesion stays there, right? So it is not breaking the country. Diversity is there, but it is not breaking the country. What it means, what this line means, if people have different identity, if people have different perspective, different thinking, then that's the division, right? But this slide is telling to us that, well, basically this diversity doesn't mean that we are breaking the country or we are breaking the nation. What this means?
This basically means like they are coexisting with each other, like they are actually respecting each other's culture, and
Hmm.
thus they are actually working for the betterment of the society, nation. So
Hmm.
basically, unity in
Exactly.
diversity
Hmm.
promoting.
Yes, so multiculturalism says that diversity basically does not break the country, but in fact it helps in unity, right? Basically, it teaches us that there are different people, there are different analogies, there are different thinking, but still, they basically this diversity teaches us to stay united under same roof, right? And India is the biggest example for this, right? For example, a person can be a citizen of a country, a member of a religion, a speaker of a language, or basically a part of a cultural group also, and that person can be all at the same time, right? Because people have multiple identities, not just one, right? And therefore loyalties too. Understood these three lines?
Yes,
So
Yes,
what did
ma'am.
we understood? What did we
What,
understood
uh,
from
what,
this?
is,
Mhm.
what is the word meaning, exact meaning of political cohesion?
Okay, so it means basically this cohesion means that we are basically not breaking the country here, right? Basically unity of the state we are discussing. In this line we are discussing, this word is telling about the unity of state. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
And so basically this is telling to us that all the identities, they basically coexist, right? They stays together, right? A person can have multiple perspectives, a person can have different analogies, but still that person will have, basically have identity, right? And can have identities too, right? Different identities too, right? And we are the example of it. Living in India, we have so many diversities, we have so different thinkings, but still we live in a country and we stay united. Yes, we do fight, but then again, there is a concept of nationalism, and this could be seen when war was happening with Pakistan, right? When there is a any match, cricket match is going on, right? Or if any player is representing us in international level, right? We all basically come together and support that, right? So this diversity basically tells us that people can have all the identities and they can coexist, and this will not lead to any clashes. Got it till here? Understood three lines?
Yes, ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next, people are able to participate in society because they have a firm and secure identity rooted in their own culture. Secure identity rooted in their own culture. Okay. Now, secure culture, identity, and this basically helps participation. Now, what this means? So, basically, multiculturalism is telling to us that people participate better when they feel what? When they feel secure about who they are. True, and that's very true, है ना? If people feel that their culture is respected, if their language is accepted, and their religion is not attacked, right? At that moment, at that particular time, basically that person, those people basically have confidence. They feel that yes, we are also included. Understood?
Yes,
Got
ma'am.
it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, after this, let's understand what another line is saying to us. Denial of a culture results in isolation and powerlessness. providing a breeding ground for extremism. Okay, very, very important. Now, what these line is telling to us, that what happened if a culture is denied? If society says that your culture, it doesn't matter, right? So that basically those people will feel what? Those people will feel isolated, right? Those people will feel powerless. Those people will have, emotion of angriness, right? So they'll feel that we are being ignored, right? So this is what this line is telling to us. The denial of culture result in isolation and powerlessness, providing breeding ground for extremism, right? This situation can become a what? This situation can become ground for extremism, right? For example, if basically young people feel that, I don't belong here, right? No one respects my identity. So this may be attracted to what? This may be attracted to extreme ideas, right? So what basically this multiculturalism is telling to us here, that respecting culture reduces extremism, right? It does not increase it, but it reduces it. Understood these 4 5
Yes,
lines?
yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Now, diversity should be celebrated. It fosters cross cultural tolerance and understanding. Now, what this is telling to us, that diversity should be celebrated and it should not be feared, right? So, what multiculturalists believe here, that diversity is what? It is a strength, right? So diversity is what? It is a strength. So when different culture mixes, people learn from each other, right? Stereotype reduces and mutual respect also grow, right? We learn about different culture. We learn about different weaknesses. We learn about strength as well, right? We basically adapt different thinkings as well, right? So this creates basically tolerance. This creates peaceful coexistence, right? This creates understanding as well, right? Can you give me an example of it?
Yes, ma'am.
Any?
So let's say that, yes, ma'am. I am just giving an example. Let's say a movie, let's say a Bollywood movie, when they
Hmm.
are actually showing some other culture, it
Hmm.
actually very much they are stereotyping the, let's say, Bengalis or South Indians or Malayalis. This is happening in Bollywood or any film industry. So in this case, if they actually promote diversity and they actually remove these stereotypes and show the culture as they are, then the acceptance of these movies, which will always increase in these various parts of the nation. As a result, which is very much example how diversity can be celebrated through movies, which is not done in proper way. In recent times we can see that has happened for a long time now.
Okay, good. Srinidhi, do you have an example?
Yes, ma'am. In daily life, we see some practices that shows that our culture also evolves. When diversity is there in society, we are all living together. Different religions, people are living together, and sometimes we adopt their practices and they adopt our practices. Some practices become common to everyone. For example, even Christians, they decorate their houses with flowers or some in festivals. Generally, Hindus celebrate by tying flowers to their doors
Hmm.
in
Okay.
festival times. But Christians also do that for Christmas. It was a
Hmm.
shared heritage. This diversity produced from times. Being in a diverse society, we have adopted cultural tolerance and also we have adopted each other's practices somewhat to some
Hmm.
extent.
Hmm. Okay,
It
perfect.
creates it creates a different culture altogether.
Okay, perfect. Understood this slide. Is there any problem that you have? Any line that you want me to
No, ma'am.
repeat with?
No,
Okay,
ma'am.
now one by one, quickly explain it. Quickly.
Yes, ma'am. So basically, multiculturalism actually believes that the cultural diversity is very much compatible with the fact that these things doesn't break the country as a whole. The diversity actually promotes unity among people. It promotes unity in diversity. Basically promotes the unity of states, where every people of various cultures actually respect each other and live together. For example, I can give that in Durga Puja, everyone, be it any religion, people actually joins in the celebration in Bengal. So this is a very much a big example of how diversity doesn't stop people from uniting for a cause, for any culture that may be. Then again, another result is that people are actually they if the people are secure about their identity, who they are in the society, if they are secure, they can actually promote multiculturalism. Denial of any rights of a culture or stereotyping someone actually isolate them. For example, I can say it actually promotes extremism. For example, the people who actually brainwash various youths into terrorist activities, they actually show them that their rights, cultural rights, are very much hampered by the state. As a result, they go into these extreme stances. If the nation can actually promote harmony among the people and show that every culture is respected, then these problems should very much reduce. For example, in recent times, we see that in Jammu Kashmir, the Vaishno Devi hospital, the medical course was cancelled because 50 out of 42 out of 50 students were Muslims, and the whole course was strike down. So this is a very bad example for this. Now, if these students who are not didn't get the chance to actually study, might actually be brainwashed by some extreme groups, and later that might cause a problems. So these things should not be done or promoted. And another thing is that diversity should be very much celebrated. Every culture is important, and every culture actually teaches us various aspects of life. So in this case, everyone, be it any culture, people can come together and promote harmony among various cultures. Basically, this is the India is very much very big example of this, where unity diversity very much practiced.
Okay, very good. Now
Yes,
let's move to. Okay, sorry,
ma'am.
Hashi. Hmm.
Ma'am, I want to ask something here.
Hmm.
There was an idea of making Hindi a national language, one language, one country. This idea was propagated. So,
Hmm.
in this context, what is your opinion, ma'am? I want to inquire about that.
The idea that they have to make Hindi the national language.
Yes, ma'am. And that is one common language should be promoted more heavily. Not, I'm not speaking about making only Hindi national language. No, Telugu and all other languages may also be national languages, but Hindi should be promoted in South and in every state. About this propaganda is there. It
Hmm.
was there for a long time. About this, what is your opinion, ma'am? Do you think it should be made a national language and promoted?
Why did you say propaganda? What's propaganda?
This idea was promoted because there are some advantages for
No, but
having
there
a
is a
common language.
like meaning of propaganda. Na? So what is propaganda? How will you define propaganda?
I think propaganda is promotion of one idea and advocating for it
Okay.
popularly.
Okay. So never use this word when you are asking question, because this shows the basically answer of yours, like which ideology you follow. Okay. So I already know which side you are. Okay. And I'm on the same side, but then again, never use
No,
while
ma'am.
asking question.
No,
No.
ma'am. I'm very confused by this answer. I don't
Hmm.
know which side to choose. I'm
Okay.
seeing advantages and disadvantages for the
when it
both here.
comes to
That's why I'm
when it comes to topic like these, we do not have any choice first of all, right? Second thing, we do not have any side also. Third thing, whenever you are asking question to anyone, right? I'm not talking about myself, I'm your teacher, right? And I told you that this is the safest place you'll ever be, right? But in future you'll be asking questions to people, you'll be in front of, like, you'll be among those people who will criticize you, who will be against your ideas, right? So before, especially when it comes to topics such like these, right, which are very sensitive nowadays, make sure that you are asking questions properly, right? That's what my
yes.
motive is, right? So I totally understand what you are saying. Coming to the question, Saptareshi, would you like to answer through this? Then I'll tell my opinion.
Well, for
Srinidhi
according to
always
me, I
comes
think that
such
the
Srinidhi,
situation right now that we have.
Srinidhi always come with such sensitive topics, and it makes me feel like I'm in dilemma. But I really like it. I really, really like it. Thank you.
No, ma'am. This is a sensitive topic, but I really don't know how to
Uh-huh.
categorize it. I see advantages.
Uh,
I see very heavy, high advantage of having a common language, but
hmm,
uh, by seeing this from the view of multiculturalism, this kind of diversity view, then I'm thinking this was ideologically not correct, but then the benefits are very high. So
hmm.
for the benefit of country, we should do this, or we should follow ideology and we should not do this. I'm genuinely confused about these
Uh,
things.
I got it. I'll answer your question. Yes, Saptrishi.
What I feel like the current situation that we have, like we have two official languages. We have 22 official languages. All the languages are there, and the use of the languages that are used in the central and state is that English and Hindi is being used. I think this situation is perfect for India as a nation because there are various languages, they have various cultures. As a result, I think that to actually promote Hindi to all the states and everyone and make it official that everyone should learn Hindi, I don't think that is too much necessary. Because what I feel that it has many advantages, yes, but the truth is that if Hindi is very much promoted by the center, then the problem is that the people who are learning the Hindi, they might actually stop learning their own languages, and as a result, the cultures, traditions would actually getting lost. For example, in West Bengal, let's say, the parents are actually enrolling their students to English medium schools. As a result, they are not actually getting accustomed to the language, the Bengali language. As a result, people are not reading the literary works in Bengali. The young kids don't actually know, can't actually count in Bengali the numbers, which is a very big problem. And if Hindi is being promoted like that to every state, then this problem would increase. Everyone actually would actually start uh, uh, forgetting their own mother language. They can mother tongue. I mean, they can speak their language, but ultimately they would actually forget to write, which is a big problem regarding our country, and it can actually promote extremism also, which we have seen in many states. So I think the current situation is perfect for India.
Hmm. So, coming to the
I want to, I want to add, I want to add one thing.
hmm,
I live in Odisha now. Here, I
hmm,
see many people speaking, many normal people speaking Hindi and Odia both. They know a bit of Hindi,
hmm,
not perfectly, but they can speak Hindi. And
uh-huh,
what I have observed is that in South, many people don't know other languages. They know, even if they know only one or two sentences, more than that, they don't understand Hindi. Uh,
hmm,
how much people in the North speak Hindi, that much it is not there in the South. So they can't travel that much freely. So what is the harm? What harm is there in learning the language also? And I mean, they can learn their language and they can also learn. They should
hmm,
be able to speak the language which is
hmm.
broadly spoken in our country. So,
Okay,
in this
so
context,
coming,
this is what we
hmm,
are promoting.
coming to the question that you have asked, I would like to answer it in like my with my perspective also. So first of all, you have to acknowledge and understand the positive intention also, right? So we will move basically clockwise, positive, negative, then the balanced approach. Okay, all basically concern will handle. So when we talk about positive intention, why basically these people want to impose one language on everyone, right? What might be the positive intention behind this? So it could be that they want like common language that come from a like concern might be like national unity. They want some administrative efficiency, or maybe they want some easier communication. This might be the positive intention that they are imposing this language, although we know that there are other reasons also, but let's not go there. But again, okay, after this there is this argument which is going for common language for a very long time. Okay, so basically common language helps what from people like different religions, so they can communicate easily, and somewhere it strengthens our basically national integration also, and this reduces language barrier also, right? And especially in administration and more in governance, है ना? So these might be the reason that we are considering, although we know what the reasons are, but okay. Now we have another thing, balance, that is constitutional and cultural balance. So when we talk about this, India is not monolingual. What is it? What is monolingual?
Monolingual basically means when one language is actually practiced, like America, they only speak English.
Exactly, speaking only one language is monolingual, right? But it is what? Multilingual. है ना? Different language basically exist here that we have discussed. So constitution does not declare any national language, right? India is recognizing what multi official languages here, right? So for many communities, language is what? We have discussed this in the previous class also. It is culture, it is history, and basically with that language, emotions are also basically, connected, right? There was a basically news also that we have discussed about all these things, right? So imposing one language will create what? Alienation will be there. Fear of like losing of culture will be there, right? So these are the negative effects that we have if we'll impose one language, right? So what will be the balanced approach here? So unity in India has never meant uniformity. It always wanted, and it was always meant accommodation of diversity, right? A strong nation will be what? That does not force sameness, right? And that is basically allowing different identities to coexist. And that will be the strong nation, right? So imposing one basically language can have like more negative effects than those 2 or 3 positive effects. Got it? Diversity is there. That's what we are known for. And somewhere, this is why we are living together. Imposing one language will create differences only, right? The gap between these people will be larger. Got it? But we can say that if you want to promote Hindi, promote it, but it should not be imposed, right? So there should be the difference between promotion and imposition, right? You can promote it, promote your language as much as you want, right? Other language like must be protected and they should also be respected because they also hold some history. They also have cultural background. They also have those emotions in them, right? So they should not impose, these things should not be forceful, right? So from a liberal perspective, what I can say, the state should remain neutral in cultural matters, right? And from a multicultural perspective, if I have to say, then language deserves recognition and respect, right? So according to me, the best approach will be that, one linked language, and you have to have multicultural languages also. This could be done. This could be the better approach. Got it? Anything that you would like to add?
No, ma'am.
So I hope that now you know that how you can answer this. How will you answer now if someone asks you? What will you say?
I will say that promotion of Hindi is okay because one having one similar language uh, can remove language barriers and make it easier for administration and job employment opportunities all over the country. But it should not be imposed because different language we as in India have diverse diversity is our one of the main uniqueness of India, and it should be respected. And all other languages also have a strong base, and they should be recognized, and they should not be sidelined by the state. So promoting Hindi is okay, but other languages should not be uh, discriminated against by the state.
Just make sure that you are not using that word propaganda in here.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, propaganda is a negative word.
It is like if you're asking these kinds of questions because we know that how sensitive this news is, right? So if you're asking this question, right, asking your question, especially to those people who are supporting this, they'll use against you this word. So make sure whenever you are asking these questions, you are using the correct word.
Propaganda means what is propaganda, ma'am? I don't understand how it is a negative.
How you consider it positive?
Not positive, just it's promotion. Wide promotion of some any idea is called as
But the
propaganda.
propaganda is something like the idea which is like false, right? Propaganda is something, the information which is exaggerated. That's propaganda. You are yourself telling the answer of the question that you have asked, that you do not believe in this. You are criticizing whatever is basically being done. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Shall we move to next slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Now, why is multiculturalism compatible with liberalism? So it coincides with liberal commitment to toleration and a desire to uphold freedom of choice. Liberalism is neutral to the moral and cultural choices citizens make. Okay, very important. So now when we talk about multiculturalism, is it compatible with liberalism, right? So first of all, let's understand what is liberalism. What is liberalism?
Liberalism basically means like equal rights for everyone.
Okay, freedom of individual, we can say.
Yes, yes.
Okay, what else? How? What's the other way of defining it? Srinidhi? Liberalism.
Equal rights for everyone.
Okay. And what is
Individual
multicultural? Individual.
individual rights and individualism should not be denied for the greater good. So every individual's rights to anything their basic rights are respected in liberalism. For the
Hmm.
common good, liberalism does not deny any right to the individual.
Hmm. Okay. Now, when we talk about multiculturalism, is it freedom of different culture,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Yes,
So now we are, okay. Now we are trying to understand that are these two compatible? So tell me, are they compatible?
Yes,
yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. They
I'm
are
just going to
Compatible.
compatible.
answer here only. Why they are compatible?
Liberalism actually talks about the protection of various individual rights. It
Hmm.
talks about freedom of individuals. It talks about equal rights for everyone. This includes religion, customs, cultures, traditions, these things. So multiculturalism talks about that every culture is being coexistence of every culture without actually disrespecting or demeaning anyone. So in this case, everyone is living together and they are respecting each other. So this is very much goes with the idea of liberalism, where every idea is being promoted, protected, because everyone has equal rights in this case. So as a result, they are compatible, very much compatible.
These two can go together. They both are compatible because they both talk about one thing, that is freedom, right? They both talk about what? They both talk about freedom here, right? So now it coincides with liberal commitment to toleration and a desire to uphold freedom of choices, right? So liberalism supports toleration, and freedom of choices, right? Liberalism believes what? That people are free to choose how they live, right? Different way of life should be tolerated, right? Understood what liberalism says?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So liberal state allows people to do what? They are allowed to pray differently, they are allowed to dress differently, celebrate different festivals. So this directly supports what? This directly supports multiculturalism, right? Got it? Now next, liberalism is neutral to the moral and cultural choices citizens make. Now, when we talk about this means what? That the state does not say that this religion is best, this culture is superior, this language is correct, right? The state says what? That you decide your values and I will protect your freedom, right? Now, because the state is neutral, right? All cultures are treated what? They are basically treated equal, right? They are considered equally important, right? No culture basically is posed on the other culture. Understood this line?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Now, third, liberalism is difference. Blind cultural difference is irrelevant because all people should be regarded as a morally autonomous individuals. Now, liberalism is difference blind. It means what? Difference blind means that law does not see religion, culture, language. Law see only as individual, right? They are not considering them as community, as groups. No, they are seeing them as what? They are seeing them as individual, right? Difference blind, culture difference irrelevant because all people should be regarded as morally autonomous individuals, right? So here basically liberalism believes that every person is morally equal, every person can think and choose for themselves, right? That is morally autonomous. Every person have the capacity to choose, right? They have to make the decisions themselves only, right? That is morally autonomous here. Got it? So cultural
Yes,
differences are irrelevant for rights. Everyone gets illegal protection. Can you give me an example of it where this has been done, right? Like legal protection is given to someone. Can you give me an example? During trial, if someone doesn't have a lawyer, right? So what government do? What
yes.
court does?
They
What they
actually
do?
with they provide with the lawyer, the government
Why
lawyers
they do
who
so?
actually
Okay.
fight
Why
for
they
them.
do?
Because every person has right to justice, a right to
Exactly,
trial and
because
justice.
everyone in
They,
front of basically law is equal to them, right? that person, right, who is basically accused, the person who is a victim, right, everyone is equal till that person is night proved, right, own guilty or guilty, right? Got it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now next, liberal draws a distinction between the public and private sphere. This is the thing that we'll be discussing here, public and private sphere. The latter is seen as realm of freedom where people are free to express cultural, religious and language identity. Now, liberalism basically divide life into two parts. First is public and second one is private sphere. Now, when we talk about public sphere, what we have here, we have government, we have law, we have constitution, right? Here, same rules are for everyone. No groups, no division. This is what we are talking about, public sphere, right? Everyone is equal here, right? No cultural preferences are given, right? Now, when we talk about private sphere, what we have in private sphere, we have home, we have religion, we have culture, we have languages, right? And here, basically full freedom. Now, people can express identity freely, right? For example, the state does not interfere in like what language you speak at home or what religion you follow or what cultural customs you practice, right? So this gives space for what? This gives space for multiculturalism. Got it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Anything or any word here that you didn't get, you didn't understand, you want me to repeat again? Any word, anything?
No, ma'am.
All good? Understood everything?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, Saptarishi, quickly.
Yes, ma'am. So basically, in this case, liberalism is very much compatible with multiculturalism. Basically, because liberalism actually talks about equal rights for everyone, freedom for every individual. It actually liberal commitment to actually tolerance, tolerance, tolerance for various cultures, religions, and all that. So in this case, liberalism is basically like where state is very much neutral regarding the cultures, traditions for everyone else. In this case, actually, the states are blind cultural. Basically, they actually don't actually uh, make difference because of cultures, religions, traditions, customs. They treat everyone as individuals, and which actually promotes harmony among the people. Uh, so in this case, liberals actually draw a distinction between public and private sphere, where public sphere is basically where everyone has the same rights. No one is different from anyone else. So in this case, this actually promotes multiculturalism. A private sphere is a sphere of home where you can actually express your thoughts without any problem or restrictions. So this is the basic idea where the state is actually promotes uh, liberal state actually promote the respect for every culture and customs, which goes very much with the idea of multiculturalism. As a result, liberalism is very much compatible with multiculturalism.
Okay, very good. Understood till here everything, Srinidhi, bache?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Hmm.
Multiculturalism is compatible with liberalism because liberalism has a gives an individual freedom of choice. They can follow any faith they believe, and they have the freedom to choose whatever culture they want to follow. So the multiculturalism coincides with this uh, liberal commitment. So they can both coexist. And also, liberalism is neutral to moral and cultural choices citizens make. Liberalism does not see what choices culture is. Everyone is free to choose their own cultures, and everyone is free to choose their own beliefs. And liberalism is difference blind. That is, liberalism does not see cultural identities of its citizens. It does not make distinctions between citizens based on cultural identities. It sees every citizen as individual, and every individual has some rights, and liberalism protects all these rights uh, separately from apart from culture. Every individual is treated equally and protected equally, regardless of what their culture is and what their cultural identity is. And liberals also draw a distinction between public and private spheres. In public sphere, there is no liberalism does not see culture, and in private sphere, liberalism allows every individual to follow their own faith and to follow their own cultural beliefs, and this gives a space for multiculturalism. So liberalism and multiculturalism can coexist.
Okay, perfect. Shall we move to another?
Yes, ma'am.
What are the limits to liberal multiculturalism? So, toleration is extended only to views and practices compatible with personal freedom and autonomy. Now, just a second. Okay. Now, toleration is extended only to views and practices compatible with personal freedom and autonomy. Okay. So now we have to understand that yes, liberalism supports multiculturalism, but only up to a point it supports, right? So when culture clashes with basically individual freedom, right, then it stops supporting it. Got it? Basically, what it is telling to us, when basically this culture is clashing with equality, when it is clashing with democracy, right? Liberalism will tell to us that stop. And that's why liberal culturalism has very, clear limits, right? Now, what this is telling to us, that toleration is extended only to views and practices compatible with personal freedom and autonomy. So this means toleration has limits, right? Here, first of all, one thing comes, that is personal freedom, right? That's the priority here. Before anything, we have one thing which is very important, that is personal freedom, right? So liberal says that we will tolerate different cultures, but only if they respect personal freedom and autonomy, right? So if a culture is practicing controlling individual choices, or basically harming individuals, and forcing beliefs, then liberalism will not tolerate it, right? For example, we have forced marriage, we have denying education to girls. So even if these are called cultural, and liberalism will reject these, right? Even if they are calling it cultural, right? If they are saying that these are the practices that are done in communities and you have to support it, then liberalism will, not support it. They will criticize it. Got it? So all the things which are done on the name of superstitious, on the name of culture, on the name of rituals, right? Liberalism basically does not support this. Understood? Got this line too?
Yes,
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Anything that you want to ask here? Okay. Next, in drawing a distinction between public and private sphere, right? Liberals expect everyone to share a consensus civil allegiances leading to ban on the hijab in France, or of all forms of overt affiliation in French schools. Okay. So when we talk about this, what these line is telling to us, that liberal divide life into basically private sphere, right? And we have another division, that is public sphere. Now, when we talk about private sphere, we have culture here, we have religion here, right? So freedom is basically allowed in this private sphere, right? They are basically given the rights, the whatever you want to practice, you can practice, right? Public sphere, that is state and school and basically laws. Then neutrality is required here, right? So here freedom is given, and in this public we are talking about neutrality. Basically balance, the management is basically required here, right? So in public sphere, liberals expect that everyone to share a common civic identity, right? And this is why in France hijab is banned in public schools, right? All basically overt religious symbols are restricted there, right? What is the reason? That is basically given by liberal logic. Basically it says that public institution must be religiously neutral, right? Citizens should meet a equal and not as a religious group, right? We should not meet as a religious group, right? Equality should be there, right? We should not consider ourselves or common, right, in terms of religion. Got this line? Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Saptarishi, explain these two.
So basically, it says that how liberalism actually draws a limit regarding multiculturalism. In this case, when the multiculturalism doesn't harm anyone or actually stops or reduces someone's others' personal freedom for any individual, then only liberalism actually supports multiculturalism. But if because of multiculturalism, some uh, problems arises or some traditions or customs are going against individual freedom of any other person, then liberalism actually would stop that part. Like for example, if there is some let's say human sacrifice is going on any some cultures some traditions, let's say. So in this case liberal idea would actually stop this tradition because it actually harms individual freedom of the person who is being used for sell human sacrifice. So this is the limit where liberalism actually stops multiculturalism. Another thing is that it actually draws distinction between public and private sphere. Liberals actually expect everyone to actually follow same civil sense regarding many various cultures or traditions. For example, here the one example is given that in French schools hijab was banned for everyone. Another case was that recently Swedish president I think said that the Muslims have to actually follow the culture of Sweden because
Hmm.
uh, it actually if Muslim practice program, then the culture of Sweden may get hampered or anything. So in this case, the civic idea that everyone should follow the same ideas, which is I think liberalism actually talks about. So in this case, this is how liberalism actually creates a boundary around multiculturalism.
Okay. Srinidhi.
Yes, ma'am. Liberalism tolerates multiculturalism, but there are limits to this toleration. When cultural practices harm individual personal freedom and individual rights of other citizens, this autonomy of culture draws a limit there. Toleration is up to there only when culture does not harm any individual freedom and does not harm individual rights of others. Only up till there is liberalism tolerates multiculturalism. When there is risk to freedom of others, then that's the limit. And there is also a distinction between public and private spheres in liberalism. Liberals see public and private spheres as completely different. In public sphere, there was no such thing as different cultures and different beliefs. They see every individual as equal, and they expect everyone to have some sense of civic alliance and uh, some common code that everyone is supposed to follow. In private sphere, everyone has personal freedoms. They can follow any culture they want, but in public spheres, they are expected to follow a common civic code. For example, France banned hijab in all forms because uh, does not it stands out in a public sphere, and also any overt religious affiliation in French schools is also banned because of this only.
Good. Now let's move to another thing. Liberal regards liberal democracy as the sole legitimate political system as it ensures that government is based on the consent of the people, right? So therefore, liberals would oppose calls for the adoption of Sharia law. So now when we talk about this, what this is telling to us that liberal is basically negotiable, right? Liberal democracy is non-negotiable. So what they believe, what these basically liberal beliefs, what they say that liberal democracy is the only legitimate political system, right? Why? Because government is based on consent, right? And basically individual rights are what? They are basically protected, right? Equality before law basically exists, right? So liberal will oppose, religious legal system, right? Parallel legal authorities, right? So for example, they calls for Sharia law are basically they rejected this because law must be uniform, right? Right must be equal for all citizens, right? So we have in this the concept of UCC, isn't it? How will you explain this in it?
Uniform civil code.
Yeah, I know that. Like,
Yes,
how will
ma'am.
you explain this in terms of
Uniform
this?
Yes,
civil code means every
UPSC.
citizen should have same rights and also same. They should be equal under law. Every person should be treated as equal under law. There should not be differences between citizens.
Okay. Srinidhi sometimes act like a, Jerry in a class. The Tom and Jerry, the cute Jerry. Okay. How will you define it, Saptarishi, in this?
Yes, ma'am. UCC talks about that there should not be variation of laws regarding any religion or customs. In this case, for example, in India, there are Muslim laws there, as well as there are Hindu laws. So
Hmm.
what UCC talks about that in spite of the religions, different religions, everyone should have same law before the according to the constitution. So UCC is the basic aspect of this. So in India, there are talks about actually creating UCC, and the government is actually going to do that in near future. So though this has many advantages, disadvantages as well, but I think UCC actually promotes a similarity regarding the judicial system, which actually is confusing regarding the various rules and regulations for various religions. So I think UCC is very much needed for, but I
Hmm.
think UCC should be made from a neutral perspective, not some
Hmm.
religious bias should be there.
Do you really think that, you think that UCC is somewhere biased?
No, man. I think UCC is very much needed, but who is
Hmm.
actually forming the law is very much
Hmm.
that person should be neutral. If the person is biased, then the laws will also be biased. So my
Hmm.
point of view is that UCC is very much needed, but
Hmm.
the law should be neutral. They should
Hmm.
not be religiously biased.
Okay, so the rules and regulations in UCC, I'm sure that you have read it, you have gone through it. Do you think that it is biased or it's balanced, or there are some changes that should be done? What do you think about it?
Well, for me,
As
I
I
think
said,
it is
this
okay,
is
but
the this is the safest place you'll ever be. So explain it, elaborate it, exaggerate it as much as you want. Yes.
well, what I think that UCC, there are various aspects of UCC, and it is being created. Not it is not completed because this is actually being worked on by the government. Uh, so it would be actually be implemented in near future. So what I think that as it is being created and it is in a continuous process of changes, so I don't think I should right now place my judgment on the UCC, which actually government is trying to do. Though I can actually talk about the UCC that is being implemented by the Uttarakhand government. So in that UCC, various aspects is okay, but some aspects should be changed because it actually is some aspects are a little bit, not totally. So I think some places can be changed, but overall it is okay.
So somewhere we can say that people, especially politicians, are using UCC as like as a tool for their own benefit,
Yes,
right? They are
yes,
misusing it. You can say that, right? Okay. What about you,
yes,
Srinidhi?
I support UCC, ma'am. I think that every citizen should have same rights regardless of their religion. In India, Muslims and Hindu property laws and mainly property laws and marriage laws are different. I don't think it should be so. I support UCC strongly
Okay, perfect. Right.
because
Mm-hmm.
in my life only I saw some people, for example, Muslim girls are there or Muslims are there. They may desire change, they may desire equality, and they may desire some property law which was not there, because which they are not granted because Muslim property law is completely different. So who should they ask? Who? Just because of their religion they are being discriminated against, I think. So this sort of
Okay.
practices, I think
Perfect.
UCC should be strongly promoted. And ma'am, you have said that some political leaders are using UCC to as their tool. I don't understand that completely. Can you please elaborate on this?
Saptarishi gave example of Uttarakhand, right? How it was implemented, and it was not implemented for the reason that UCC was made, right? Some political reasons were behind it, and how people misuse the concept of UCC and exaggerate and misuse the. We all know that how basically people lied what exactly what UCC was, right? The agenda basically was misused for political gain, right? So that's the basically context behind my the statement that I gave. Got it?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Now let's move to another line. Liberals will only tolerate groups which are prepared to tolerate and respect the rights of others. Okay. Now, what this is telling to us, that liberal says that will only, tolerate you only if you tolerate others, right? So if a group is there who is disrespecting the rights of others, refusing equality or promoting intolerance, so liberals will withdraw the toleration. Got it? This is what this line is telling to us. Then, multiculturalism, by stressing group needs and interest, is another form of collectivism where the rights and needs of the individuals are subordinated to those of the group and can lead to ghettoization, whereby people identify only with the needs of particular group and fail to recognize or respect the rights of other groups. Now, here we are understanding fear of collectivism, form of collectivism, right? And we are going to understand the ghettoization. Now, liberal basically here criticizes multiculturalism by saying what? By saying this, that it focuses too much on groups, and somewhere it is weakening the individual, right? We are basically talking about the group, and where we are picking up the major benefit, majority of the people, right? And how, that's how we are basically working. But this individuality is somewhere loosened, right? So when group basically identify becomes too strong, so individual may lose freedom, right? People may live, only within their group, right? And this will lead to us what? This will lead to ghettoization, right? So इसका मतलब क्या? What this ghettoization means? This means groups live separately, right? There will be a thinking of us versus them, right? This basically concept will start developing in our mind, right? There will be no concept of social integration, right? So liberals basically worry that this will damage social cohesion, and this will also somewhere reduce the mutual respect. Understood till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, one by one, explain it.
Well, in this case, it is said that liberals will tolerate the groups who actually those groups who actually respect other groups. In this case, it is talks about that if a group or community that is actually following some traditions and customs, if they actually demean other groups, it doesn't go with the idea of liberalism, and it is actually hampering the idea of that unity in diversity. So in this case, liberalism actually talks about liberalism doesn't tolerate this idea that when one group is actually disrespecting or demeaning other group. Another aspect is the multiculturalism. Sometimes, if it actually goes to extreme case, then the groups that are formed due to the difference in diversity, difference in traditions and customs as well as language, it can create smaller groups that are windowless groups. Like they don't actually uh, they don't share their ideas with each other, they don't respect each other. In this case, the society may get fragmented, and it actually creates the problem of ghettoism that can happen. So I think what liberalism talks about, that in uh, this extreme situation can actually cause problem for the society as well as the nation. So liberalism doesn't support this, and it is a it actually reduces mutual respect for each other, which actually is very much criticized by liberal ideas, and liberalism doesn't actually support this.
Okay, Shrindi.
Yes, ma'am. Liberals regard democracy as the sole legitimate political system. That means they only support democracy, liberal democracy, as a political system, and under this, every citizen is treated as equal and everyone is given the same rights. So they oppose the calls for adoption of Sharia law, that is law based on religion. For some group of people, these kind of calls liberals oppose. And one another thing they oppose is that liberals will only tolerate groups in their society. These groups are tolerating others, tolerating and respecting the rights of others. They should not, any group should not violate the rights of others based saying that this is their culture, on the call of culture. And multiculturalism also stresses group needs and collective interests of a group. By doing this, individual rights may be compromised. This is one concern of the liberals. And another one is that this can lead to ghettoism. Ghettoism means that uh, forming of strong groups, strong situations where a group, a person, in particular cultural group lives only among their culture, and this can lead to strong division between cultures, and they only respect and they only identify with their cultural people and see others are, and they fail to recognize the rights of other groups, and they don't see other groups, interests of other groups as valuable. This is also another culture of liberalism, multiculturalism.
Perfect. Now, particularist multiculturalism. So, Isai Berlin went beyond liberal multiculturalism by endorsing value pluralism. So, this is the theory that there is no single overriding conception of the good life. Okay, now we are going to understand about the particularist, right? Now, what is this particularist multiculturalism? So basically, this says that different culture can live in different ways, right? And no single way of life is best for everyone, right? So what they are promoting, they are promoting differences. They are promoting diversity, right? They are promoting this way. So now here, what this is telling to us that Isai Berlin went to beyond liberal multiculturalism by endorsing value pluralism, right? Now this Berlin believed in value pluralism, right? Now what does this mean? There is no one single best way to live life, right? Different people will have like different values, like freedom is there, equality is there, religion, community, traditions, right? All of these can be good even if they are clashing, then still they can be good for the society, good for them, right? Even after seeing that they are clashing with each other, still they can be good, right? For example, some people value individual freedom, right? Other values basically family or community, right? So Berlin says that both are valid in this case. Got it? Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Should I repeat again or understood?
Understood, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, a form of live and let live. Now, what is this live and let live? We have heard this before also. Now, basically, this approach believes that you live your life the way you want to live, right? And I live mine. Neither of us is superior, right? So, for example, no, like one culture basically should not force its value on others, right? No culture should like claim moral superiority, right? So, this goes what? This goes beyond liberalism. है ना? Agreed?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Right?
ma'am.
So basically, this is telling to us that you do not have to, implement my rules on yourself, right? So this goes beyond liberalism, which basically often says liberal values are best, right? Now, after this, a post-liberal stance in which liberal values are no longer seen as having a monopoly of legitimacy. Now, what this is telling to us, that post-liberal, what is post-liberal? Means liberal values are not only the legitimate values, right? Liberal values basically strongly believe in what? Individual freedom they believe, autonomy they believe, rational choices they believe, right? So, particularist, basically, multiculturalism says that these are good values, but not the only good ones. So some cultures may value community over individual. They may value duty over choices. They may value traditions over changes, and that is acceptable, right? So they are not criticizing it. Particularist is basically not criticizing it, right? If no one basically, if those people doesn't want change, right? It's basically there are people who are like choosing duty over choices, or there are people who are choosing community over individual. So according to particularist multiculturalism, it is absolutely fine to have such diversity, such different way of thinking. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
After this, cultural diversity takes place within a context of unequal power in which certain groups have had advantage denied to the others. So, particularist multiculturalism is therefore aligned to the needs and interests of marginalized groups. Now, here, what we are talking, unequal power, right, and marginalized group. Now, what this is telling to us, the theory basically also looks at the power, unequal power, right? So it is basically telling to us that culture diversity does not exist on equal terms, right? Some groups have like more power, some groups were like historically oppressed, right? So treating everyone same is not enough. Got it? Everyone have different background, everyone have different struggle, right? And we have to consider it, and while considering it, we should, basically treat them, right? So what this is telling to us, that special attention is needed for marginalized communities, disadvantaged culture, basically all the groups that denied opportunities, right? Basically it is telling to us that we need these people to not treat them equally, but on the basis of the, the problems that they have been through. Special attention should be given to these people, these groups solely, right? So for example, if two people start a race, one start at the finish line and one start from behind, right? So treating both equally is unfair, right? So particularist multiculturalism tells to us that support groups with specific recognition should be there. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Understood till here? Any point that you want me to repeat again from here?
No, no.
Okay.
Understood, ma'am.
Okay, Srinidhi, you start with it.
Yes, ma'am. Uh, this particular particularist multiculturalism is an idea proposed by Isaiah Berlin. He went beyond liberal multiculturalism by endorsing value pluralism. He said that this in this theory, no single value is seen as superior to any other. Any form of values is valued. No one is one value is seen as morally superior or one listed value. In this, they are not seeing liberal values are is the only legitimate value. So some other values are also accepted. In one community, individual freedom, liberal values are accepted. That is okay. And in some another community, in another state, and uh, community and collective good is valued over liberal choices and freedom of individual. Is also accepted. No value is seen as morally superior to another one in this particular multiculturalism, and it is a form of live and let live. And in in this multiculturalism, he believes that cultural diversity does not exist equally. Some groups are having more power, and some groups are having less power, and so their some groups are marginalized because of this differences in power, and their ability in expressing their views and expressing their interests may have been discriminated against. Particularist multiculturalism aligned to the interest supporting interests and needs of these marginalized groups, that they are not at the same point, so marginalized groups need to be supported more for them to have equal rights in the same line. That's it, ma'am.
Okay. Saptarishi Bachche.
Yes, ma'am. So Isaiah Berlin actually talks about actually goes beyond liberal multiculturalism and talks about value pluralism. This actually talks about that there no belief system is wrong and everything actually leads to good life. For this, I can relate with the ideas of the teacher of Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa, who said that as many paths, as many beliefs, as many paths. Basically means like every path actually leads every belief system is a path that actually leads to a good life. It is like going to the roof by various means. Someone is using a stair, someone is using ladders, someone is using rope. Everyone is reaching the roof, and everyone is right in their approach. There is no wrong answer in this. It is like living own life and actually letting others to live their life. This is going beyond the idea of liberalism, where everyone has to have to follow a certain boundary. They actually have to be in. But in this case, everyone is actually living their own life, actually following their own traditions. These actually this is actually in this case, liberal values are not seen as just monopoly of legitimacy. Like they are not the only way. Every path actually leads to the basic idea of good life and all that. Everyone can actually follow this their own cultures, and it actually talks about how uh, if in a unity in diversity, let's say in cultural diversity in India also, there are various aspects where some cultures are very much deprived or historically they actually experience various injustice, so they are actually little bit not as much developed as the other groups. So in this case, it actually talks about that everyone should have same equitable rights that they can actually grow as they want to. There should be no restriction regarding how they want to actually follow their traditions or customs. So this was the aspect of how multiculturalism is described.
Okay, perfect. Now I have one question for you too. Tell me, if there is no single best way of life and different cultures have unequal power, should the state protect marginalized culture practices even when they conflict with liberal values like individual freedom and equality? Where should the line be drawn? Should I repeat the question again?
Oh, I got it.
Srinidhi Bachche, should I repeat the question again?
Yes, ma'am, got it.
Okay. Srinidhi, answer first, then Saptarishi.
I don't think, ma'am, just because they are marginalized, because they are having some disadvantages, their culture should not be valued. Their way of living should not be valued against in the interest of personal liberty and individual choice. We
Hmm.
have discussed in the class before about positive discrimination. That is different from this particularist multiculturalism idea of supporting marginalized interests of marginalized groups. But
Hmm.
positive discrimination is allowed by the government because some groups have suffered in the past. That is our compensation towards them. But
Hmm.
supporting weak groups to maintain their identity and their cultural beliefs over personal freedom and individual equality is not acceptable to me.
Okay. Okay. Saptarishi.
Yes, ma'am. What I feel like that this idea of particularist multiculturalism is very much possible only if the society is ideal, in an ideal society. But when we are talking about the nation states like India or any state in that regard, we can't actually follow this idea. Individual freedom is okay, but when it is actually talking about protecting individual rights and respect for all, the line should very much drawn because some limits should be there regarding the individual freedom of any person. For example, let's say uh, the example I give that human sacrifice may actually prevalent in some tradition, but a state can't actually allow that because it goes against the individual right of the people. The line should always be drawn if it actually hampers others' rights. So the idea is that uh, we can allow as much tradition as possible up to the level that they don't actually hamper the rights of others. The rights of everyone should be protected in the as as mentioned in the constitution.
Okay. So, Srinidhi, what did you say? Should we like support particularist multiculturalism or we should not support it?
I do not support multiculturalism, ma'am, because I don't think it is possible for all. I mean, if every culture is seen as right and everything is seen as legitimate, no one thing is right, then everyone will want others to follow their culture
But
and their values.
but what about the concept that particularist multiculturalism have explained that many groups have been like, treated unfairly for a long time, and giving them spatial protection helps them feel equal. They'll feel safe. They'll feel respected. Right? Treating everyone exactly the same is not always fair. What about this concept of particularist multiculturalism? How will you answer to this? Isn't it something unfair that we'll be doing to them because they have suffered a lot? They have history of suffering. What about those people, those community? Okay.
Uh,
So when we okay, yes, Bache.
I will see to the cause of their suffering. Means, ma'am, for example, in a village of 100 people, there are only five Muslims and 95 are some other religion people are there. So they are not able to celebrate their festivals very grandly. Therefore,
Hmm.
so in this context, if this is seen as suffering and the village council holds a very grand festival for this, the state holds some grand festivals for this marginalized group, then I don't think that was justice for the other 95 people. Everyone should be given freedom in their personal spheres, but state should not interfere very much to make the scene equal for everyone. There is no such I value justice over equality. So I do not think state should make the society equal for every group and every culture.
I think there could be a balance in it, right? So when
Yes,
we talk about culturalist multiculturalism, the balance means what? That we, yes, we protect, minority culture, so they also feel safe, they also feel respected, but at the same time, everyone follows the same basic laws of the country, right? So cultural practices are allowed there only if they do not harm others or they do not take anyone's, freedom. So people can keep their cultural identity also, but they should also feel like they belong to one society, and I think that's what we are doing in India, right?
that comes under liberal culturalism, right, ma'am? Liberal
Exactly.
multiculturalism. It
So
does not come under verticalist
exactly.
multi.
Culture is also respected, but formal rules are also shared there, right? Differences is allowed, but unity is also protected there. So this could be done. Enough.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else you want to say?
No, ma'am.
So we should we add today's class? How many slides are left on this?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
We'll
Yes.
next class we'll finish this. Okay. And I hope that you remember that you have
Thank
tests
you.
on Saturday.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you. We have test of which topic?
Rights and duties and accountability, individual and state. This topic.